I'm Eric Wolf, and my experience in business peer groups has changed my life, especially my membership in Vistage, one of the world's largest CEO advisory groups. I'm an entrepreneur, a business owner, and a Vistage speaker on the power of marketing. This podcast is dedicated to the people who make those experiences possible, the peer group chairs. Every episode, I interview a Vistage chair who has dedicated their time to helping entrepreneurs like me succeed. My guest today is Bob Carrothers, and Bob is a master chair at Vistage, and we're going to talk about what that means. And he's been a coach and been in leadership development for close to 30 years. He's got 3 Vistage groups. Is that correct?
That's right.
So you've got if I'm remembering correctly, a CE group, a TA group, so chief executive, trusted advisor, and then also advancing leader.
No, I have a
Oh,
CEO. I used to have a TA group, but I've got a
oh,
CEO group. I've got a key exec group, and I
oh, a
actually,
key exec. I mixed that up. That's
okay.
my fault. Bob, we all can't be young and sharp like you. I having a senior moment. But yes, key exec.
Yeah, and actually I share the AL group, so I kind of have two and a half groups, I guess. But
Uh,
Don Myers and I co-chair that group.
awesome. So first of all, what does it mean? I do believe that you're. I think that you're the first master chair that has graced my airwaves. So what is a master chair? How do you become a master chair, and what does that mean to the people who are joining your group?
Well, when I became a master chair, it was based on criteria that Vistage laid down in the area of retention rate, number of members in my group. I think I had to have over 14, never dropping below 14 for the year in all the groups I had. Um, and it was just different criteria, more around quality than quantity. And then they've changed it now to where it's more about how many members you have. Retention rate is in there, but they've really put an emphasis on the number of members you have and work with.
Gotcha.
So having only one CEO group now, it limits my available
Capacity? Oh,
eligibility.
eligibility. Okay.
Talk about a senior moment. My eligibility to get that award anymore.
Gotcha. Um, and of course, it's no small achievement to build a group.
Hmm.
What's the difference, really quickly, also between the CEO group, the key exec group, and the advancing leaders group? What kinds of people are you looking for to join in each of those scenarios?
I'm always looking for people that are eager to grow. They know they don't have all the answers. They're humble. I don't like big egos in the group. I just don't enjoy working with them. Um, and I work primarily with entrepreneurs. That's what excites me. That's what I was before became part of Vistage. And to me, it's more fun. Entrepreneurs lay everything on the line to found a company.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
they might hawk their house, they go deep in credit card bills, trying to make payroll sometimes,
And they continue to do it.
and they continue to do it. I mean, it's they on the bet that their idea will work and their ability to lead will work. And I just think that's fabulous. you know. And I really like working with people that have a different way. Either it's a new product, a new vision that's different than anything else in the market, and they're driven to get this going, or they have different way of doing a current process or a different way to manufacture. And they're driven. I love driven people.
We have a questionnaire that we send to everybody before they come on, and when we asked you about the makeup of your groups and if there was anything special to note, and there are people that tell us things like, oh my group is predominantly female, or my group or my group we've got a lot of international folks in our group, and what you wrote is possibly the most charming answer that we have had in the short history of this podcast, which is they are all great people and I love them.
Yeah, that's
And
exactly right.
I just thought, man, what a absolutely cool thing to hear from a chair.
Hmm.
What was your path like to become a Vistage chair? What were you doing before? What led you to say, this is what I want to do now?
Hmm. I before I had three companies that were involved in trading, buying and selling animal guts. So we bought from, lungs, livers, kidneys, spleens, tongues,
Okay,
feet.
so for a second, I thought that I assumed that I
Uh,
was mishearing you because
uh,
I said, did he say guts? Or
uh-huh.
or I was like, he must have said goods and I misheard it. But it is
No,
actually, in fact, animal guts.
right. Yeah, we'd go to packing houses and we might buy one truckload of their beef lungs, or we might contract for their entire production. Um,
Can I ask what one would do with a truckload of beef lungs?
Beef lungs go to pet food.
Okay.
Tec- Technically, by the USDA, they're inedible product because they carry diseases and things. So they don't allow them into the human market, but they're the beef byproducts you see on labels for pet food. That's just
Gotcha.
one of the items. We did a lot. We did gull or trachea. We did livers. We did kidneys. I mean, we did all kinds of stuff.
And and I guess all to make sure that none of the animal gets wasted.
That's exactly right. That's where a packing house makes their money, actually, is on that stuff. They don't try to do this, but often or the meats that you'll see in the store are break even for them or make a little profit. But the guts are all profit, except for the cost of preparing them.
Yes, I guts are all profit. That's
Yeah.
that's you know what, we should cross stitch that into a pillow that we give to
Yeah,
your
that's
group members.
a
I
great
think
quote, isn't
it is. It's a terrific quote, and
it?
I like its applicability to entrepreneurship.
Yeah, exactly. So
Um,
the
yeah, go
companies
ahead.
did the companies did that. I did it for almost 20 years. And then I was getting bored with it and I wanted to start another company. And my partner, who I'd taken in along the way, great guy, um, decided he didn't want to go that direction. So they bought me out. The management team bought me out, and they took the gut trading company and grew it and did real well. And then the company I started, what I thought I would do is the wall had come down in Germany. And so the products, I thought they would be, the world was, I thought, demanding American manufactured goods.
Okay.
And so I had a lot of experience exporting meat. And I thought, well, it's not much different than putting, Pringles into a container is not much different than putting animal guts into a container and shipping. So I was going to do that. I hired some so-called experts from They had been with, this is a long time ago, Pace, the Pace markets that you bought a membership to. Kind of
Yeah,
like
it
Costco.
was like a pre-Costco.
It was pre-Costco. And they'd been their team for exporting product from them because they bought a lot of product. Um, and so I thought I had a winner, with the team, and we just start doing this business. But it turned out that it took a lot more time to build the relationships overseas to where the level of trust was there to do it.
Gotcha.
And we banged our head against the wall for a long time. And it just wasn't working. So I shut it down. I had to let everybody go. Um, I closed it, and I was too arrogant. I didn't listen to anybody, and that's why the company crashed. Um, I was in a tech group, which was Vistage at the time, or Vistage group, but it was called Tech, and they weren't exactly thrilled with me going into this line of work. They thought I was crazy, and I wish I'd listened to them. They were right. It was the wrong thing to do. So I lost some investors' money. I lost my money, and it was an expensive lesson. So when I'm done with that, I'm looking for a job, and I reached out to my chair to see if Vistage had any openings. I kind of wanted to be in the international side of Vistage to help grow Vistage overseas. But they already had somebody doing that, and he happened to be the president of the company, so that wasn't going to come.
You,
But they
you,
said
you,
we
you
do.
you didn't think you could displace him?
I didn't think I
No.
could knock him out of a job. So they said we don't need that, but we do need a chair in Denver. And would you be interested? And I said, sure. I'd loved it. And I thought, all the bad stuff I'd learned, all the good stuff I'd learned might help somebody from doing the same mistakes.
And
So I,
what year was this?
1996.
Terrific.
Yeah.
So
And so they immediately flew me they talked to me on the phone. Then they flew me to San Diego where the World Conference was going on. And I met all the other chairs, which wasn't very many at that time. And I fell in love with it. They did some workshops and different things, and I just fell in love with the other chairs and the culture and the idea behind it. And I thought, well, I've got a lot of experience. This will be easy. And so I joined.
and was it in fact easy?
No,
Yeah. I
no,
I
it took some time to get my groups up, but I did. Um, So just a lot of hard work and a lot of coaching. They didn't have the stuff they have now, the academy and the
right.
different ways to train people. In fact, I think 2 months in, I was teaching one of the
Uh,
classes on.
I mean, I would categorize the process of becoming a Vistage chair almost like an apprenticeship nowadays,
It
where
is.
there's classes that people take, and then they've
Mhm.
got to go under, they've got to be mentored by a chair, and you do the whole thing, and you're sitting in on the groups, and and you've got to be building your own while you're doing that.
Uh-huh.
Just curious, because I think it would be an interesting thing to know. What would you say the difference is between you starting your first group in the late '90s versus somebody who is just getting anointed as a new Vistage chair today?
Well, when I came into being a visitor chair, it was basically, well, get out there and, here, we'll send you a few contacts out of D&B and go to work and good luck. That was it. And then they just decided they better develop a training program. And so, in fact, like I was saying, I taught probably 2 months or 3 months in, I taught a boot camp, which is what we called it, the academy today. And it was crazy. I had no experience, but we kind of bootstrapped it. It was great.
And and unlike today, there wasn't an online forum for you guys. There
Right.
wasn't there were, I imagine, relatively few folks that could give you best practices or anything like that. It was the Wild West of Vistagedom.
It was. It was. And it was even crazier before they hired me, but we turned it into a, we turned it into a, it was going pretty strong after a while.
And
So,
I think it's cool for your story in particular.
mhm,
You sort of did the whole thing. You had the sort of the highs and the lows of
yes.
entrepreneurship. You got an exit.
Mhm.
You then had a failure. And then you took that and decided to use that towards giving back to entrepreneurs as a chair, which is
That's absolutely right.
it's a really cool story.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I just love it. I don't regret the decision at all. It's just been an amazing career,
If and
second career.
if you would, sort of put yourself back
Mhm.
in your shoes in the late 90s, what would you say has evolved about the way you approach being a chair, how you feel about being a chair, how you engage with your groups? How has that evolved over 30 years? Because obviously, as I'm sure you're aware, while there are many Vistage chairs that have been doing this for quite a while,
Mhm.
there are very few that have your tenure.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. A lot of the ones I had worked with in the beginning, they're no longer around. So, yeah, what's different? Everything. Um, I think the culture has changed. I think we're on our fifth, maybe just four, but fifth PE firm that's owned us. And each firm has their own little twist. And as long as they don't bother me or my groups, I'm happy. If they ever start doing that, that's gonna not work for me. But they they let me do my job. And the thing that's gotten easier about it, that's just I think over time, is when you start a group, you're so concerned about bringing value to the group. Got to bring value. You always hear that with new chairs. I gotta provide value. I gotta do this. And um, it's to me, it's not. I'm not the one to provide value. The group's the one that provides the value.
You're a conduit for
I just
value.
exactly right. I just manage the process and make sure it works. And so my idea of chairing is I just provide a safe space for magic to happen. And I've seen it over and over again.
How has your approach to coaching evolved over? Because of course, as a chair, you're for a lot of your members, they're not only are you facilitating their peer group, but you're also their de facto business coach, and there's coaching that happens in the meetings, and then there's also the one-on-one coaching that happens. How has that evolved for you, and how has your role as a coach and mentor changed over 30 years?
I'm just I s- I just want to listen, you know, let them talk, um, and ask questions that might help stir thought. Sometimes I have to help with ideas if the member seems lost on what they can do. But my ideal session is when I just sit and listen. And I've had sessions where I might say 4 or 5 words, and the rest of the session, the members speaking, and they'll get done. They'll say, wow, this was a great one-to-one. And I didn't do anything, I just listened to them. So that's the way I feel about it. I think we're not there to provide answers. We're not consultants, we're coaches. And that's to help the members find their own direction.
It's a very different thing, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
If I get,
I've had chairs tell me that that's something that sometimes they struggle with.
Mhm. Well, I've relaxed into it, and it's made my job a lot easier to not have a bunch of answers, just great questions.
There you go.
Mhm.
What's the best lesson that one of your members has actually taught you?
Oh gosh. There's so many. But I had a member who taught me a lot, and he would take Fridays off.
Hmm.
He wouldn't work on a Friday, and he used that time to work on his business at home, just sit and think, read a book that he thought might be whatever, or just go to his kids' school and be a father in the class. And but it was a way that he got out of the office. And it seems kind of counterintuitive. How can the CEO not be in the office, not be
Right.
available? But it was actually the opposite. The more he was stayed away, the better his teams got because they couldn't rely on him to give them the answers. And so he started doing it. He went like 6 months or 6 weeks, I think, doing that. And he asked his team, well, do you mind me being gone on Fridays? And they said, heck no, we get more done when you're at home. So he decided that was the right way to do it. And that was just an interesting little thing I try to get my members to think about is take Fridays off,
I
travel,
imagine the other 4 days he was fresher and more engaged as well.
absolutely. And he would come up with things on his uh, Friday, and then I'd have my one-to-one on Tuesday, and he would say, "Look, I just want to run this by you. I had this idea. You know, on Friday, I was sitting thinking, I think there's a different way we could market this. And here's some ideas I have." And we'd talk about them and kind of hash them out. And then he'd go either drop them or he'd put them into play. And I'll be darned if they didn't work. And he became very successful, extremely successful. And he ended up exiting company for quite a bit of money. And he's still a good friend.
That's incredible, and I I love the idea of CEO Fridays.
Right. Exactly.
What if you were to cross paths today? If there was somebody sitting across the table from you that was telling you, "Hey, I've never been in a peer group before. I've been running this business for X number of years. What should I expect from this? What advice would you give that person that's thinking about this experience but doesn't know if it's for them?"
Hmm. Well, first thing I'd bring up is be prepared to have your life changed. And the second thing would be to um, give. The more you give, the more you're going to get out. If you want to sit and be a wallflower and just listen to the discussions and not contribute much, you're probably going to get unhappy and
Right.
you're going to take near as much away as you could. And you're paying this money to be in this group. Why not just play full out? Give it everything you got. Bring your topics to the group for discussion. Throw your vulnerability down there and let it flow. And just be your true self and take advantage.
Bob,
And
oh, go
that
ahead. Sorry.
seems to work. No, that seems to work.
That's a fantastic answer, and it's absolutely spot on.
Hmm.
I I think that the idea that you're coming into to not only take but also give quite a bit
Right.
is absolutely spot on.
Hmm.
Thank you for sharing your perspective today. Thank you for being my guest. If anybody has any questions about about Vistage, about your groups, potentially about the usefulness of animal guts, what is the best way for folks to get in touch with you?
The best way is my email address, which is bob.carruthers, and that's CARROTHERS at vistagechair.com. V is in Victor, ISTAGECHAIR, just like it sounds, .com. And I'll be happy to get back to you and have a dialogue or whatever you want, answer your questions.
We'll post that in our show notes also.
Okay, perfect.
And thank you so much, Bob. I really appreciate it.
No, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Chairwaves. You can subscribe to our feed using Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your platform of choice. You can also visit chairwaves.com for more information. Chairwaves is hosted and produced by me, Eric Wolf, and to connect with me, you can visit my website at ewolf.live. That's EWOLF.live. And a disclaimer, while I love Vistage and CEO peer groups, this podcast is not owned by or affiliated with Vistage or any other peer organization. Thanks for listening.